right, I'm live. Let's do this. The name is Jose Trujillo. I am the world's greatest living artist. And running errands this morning. Videos and errands. Errands and videos. I want to talk to you guys about a very cool quote that I read regarding being an artist. Creativity takes courage. I think it was Henri Matisse who said that, if I'm not mistaken. Creativity takes courage. When I first read it, I was like, oh man, like what about that? I didn't get it, really. I was like, well, yeah, you have to be a bit courageous to be creative, you know, to come up with some artwork and this and that. But the more time has gone by, the more I understand the quote. I don't think he was just talking about being an artist. I don't think he was talking about creativity as being an artist. I think that he was talking about the muse. What artists call the muse, or artists call inspiration. He was talking about the creative process of getting anything done. You don't have to be an artist to cognate with this. To get anything done, it takes courage to get anything done. It takes an unbelievable amount of courage. Because when you get something done, you become creative. It's the only way to become creative. You don't become creative first. Many people are confused by this. They say, oh, I'm going to go get myself some creativity and then I'm going to go do things. But it doesn't work that way. It works the other way around. You go do something and then therefore you become creative. Because more, it's like a flywheel. More opens. You start creating artwork, and then more artwork comes out, and then more artwork comes out. But the only way that it can actually come out, it's by doing. It will not come out by thinking, hoping, analyzing, and on and on and on. It only comes out by doing, and the doing has to be, and I say this, has to be, I emphasize here, it has to be unforgiven doing. One of my mentors says he has a saying. He says, imperfect action made me rich, he said. Imperfect action. Now, of course, he's talking about money. He's talking about his business. But it applies everywhere. It's the imperfect action that gets anything going. So many of us get stuck on trying to do things right, and then therefore we never become creative. We never become creative because we're waiting for the right thing. We're waiting to do things the right way. I hear so many times people saying, I'm going to do it right the first time. Nobody does anything right the first time. And we always hear this concept, if you're going to do it right, you got to do it right the first time. Nobody does anything right the first time. That's a lie. It's a myth. People like to say that to stay small, to conserve, to hold back. I had to do 1,000 bad paintings before I did a good painting. And I'm talking about a good paint. I'm not talking about a painting with great skill. I'm talking about a painting that actually was a painting. I'm not talking about skill level. I'm talking about the true artistic essence of painting. Comes from quantity first. Maybe 1,000 drawings. I don't know. Maybe 1,000 sketches. I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. 1,000 something. 10,000 something. Creativity does take courage. It takes a lot of courage to be creative. I love that. Craig Ford Fine Art says, I tell my students to make efforts, not excuses. Courage overcomes insecurities. Absolutely. I've never found any artist who was not courageous. And an artist that is doing something, right? Because there's millions of artists, but a lot of people love the title artist, but I never found an artist that's actually doing something, making a name for herself or himself, making a name, doing something, right? Showing up enough to galleries where you recognize the artist. You're like, oh, okay, I see who that person is. The person keeps showing up. I've never seen anyone doing something beyond their comfort zone, right? That was not creative. That was not courageous. They go hand in hand. It's almost like you will never get creativity unless you first become courageous, unless you first become uncomfortable. We're full of excuses. Most of us are. I would say 99% of people are full of excuses. I didn't do this because of that. I was late because of the traffic. You were late because of the traffic. You were late because you didn't do it the week before, the year before, the month before. You didn't wake up at 3 in the morning instead of waking up at 5 in the morning or 7 in the morning to skip traffic. You didn't go to sleep 2 hours earlier. It's easier to label something and explain why something didn't happen. Excuses is something that we all have plenty of. We all have a lot of that. They're easy to come by. They're so easy to come by. I can't paint large paintings because I don't have a large studio. Really? You know, most of the best artists that we think that they were the greatest artists never had anything. Didn't get their big bad studios, and they didn't get their big, because studio is just another word for a production place, right? It's a warehouse. It's a production warehouse. A mechanic works in cars in a warehouse. A painter, once they start doing it in a professional way, they get themselves what we call a studio. It's the same thing. It's a production warehouse. It's a production place. The place where those things get sold is a retail space. We just like to call them a gallery, but it's a retail space. It's no different. It's the same thing. We just use a different name to give it a different, a little different oomph. But we come up with the weirdest excuses. Just think about all the excuses that we come up with, that you come up with, that I come up with. Just think about it. Like, I don't work on Sundays. I don't call anyone after 7 o'clock. I don't bother anyone after 5 p.m. People want to be with their families. They got out of work. Really? Like, just think about it. These are all excuses. These are all excuses to stay comfortable. I won't call a gallery on the weekday because they're working. I won't call the gallery on a weekend because they're having a show, and on Sunday, well, they're with their family. So so what's left? I don't know. You put yourself in these little pockets of time. I can't go there at noon because they're having lunch. I can't go get a gallery and talk to a gallery owner because, he or she's having lunch at noon. I just can't do it. I can't do it at noon. Okay, so what time? Well, I can't do it early because they're opening. I don't want to be the pest. And I can't do it later because they're going to close. So you can't do it early because they're opening. You can't go talk to a gallery owner at noon because they're having lunch, and you can't go talk to a gallery owner after they close the gallery because they're tired. They're done with people. They don't want to talk to anyone. So what's left? It's excuses. That's all it is. How about you go in the morning and you take them coffee? How about you go at lunch and you take them lunch, or you treat them to lunch? How about you go later at night? I don't know. And you offer to help close. You offer to help. It doesn't matter. They could say no to all three things, but at least they saw you. At least now they saw you. I think society is full of excuses, and this is one of the reasons. I know it's a touchy subject. I know this subject is not for everybody, but I think this is one of the reasons why people, in general, we have such a hard time reaching our goals. Because there's more excuses than there's efforts. There's far too many more excuses than there's efforts. And I don't blame anyone. It's not easy, but it's got to be done. And it can be done. I know I've used so many excuses in my life to hold back on my potential, on my creativity. I've come up with every excuse in the book. I've used every excuse in the book. I'm not ready to exhibit. I don't have any money to buy frames. I don't know anybody. Nobody knows me. Anything. I don't know how to price my work. Can somebody help me? When we say, can somebody help me, what we really want is, can somebody please do it for me? Because I have not developed the courage to do raw auction. Raw auction is the auction that will always guarantee you reach your goals. Oh, thank you, Jolly. Jolly says, you tell the truth. I love that about you, Jose. You know, it's my truth, you know. I just think that I'm not the only one. I think that other people may be going through the same thing. But this is my truth. This is stuff that has happened to me. This is how I have seen the world. I've literally made every excuse. I don't have enough space. That's me. Yeah. No, that was me not long ago. I don't have enough space. I don't have enough space. Okay, well it may be true. Okay? It may be true, but it shouldn't stop you. It may be true, but it shouldn't stop you. What I did was that I don't have enough space, so I would turn off. I'd be like, oh man, I don't have enough space. I want to do this big paintings, but I don't have enough space. So what happens is that it turns you off. How about I don't have enough space? Okay, but I'm going to do everything I can as if I had all the space in the world. And then out of that, you start moving and you start expanding and you start, things start happening because you put the effort first. And then you get the sales, you get the exhibits, you get the, you know, even if you don't have space, even if you're sleeping next to the paintings, you're putting them on the side, whatever. And things start happening for you, that the same income that's coming, this is what happened to me, the same income that came to me was the result of me not giving up and saying, I don't have enough space. Okay, that's fine, but I will do whatever is in my power. To not sell myself short. You know? That's like Stephen Hawking saying, well, I'm stuck to this chair, I can't do anything else anymore. We have so much juice as human beings. We have so much energy, and we waste it. It's constantly being wasted due to fucking lame excuses that we use. You know, we put an excuse just about on anything and everything that we can think of. Nothing should stop us. There's so much more. No one stopped out. I don't care what situation in your life you are. I've seen it. I've seen people do incredible things that are challenged by life so much. And then I see myself, you know, I look at myself and I'm like, man, Like, what's holding you back? What is your challenge? You know, what's holding me back? What's holding you back? Excuses. Excuses are the only things that are holding us back. This is why that quote, creativity takes courage, it's so important to understand. It's so important to really understand it. You will not get creative unless you become courageous. And the only way to become courageous is to do things without thinking. That's why heroes are heroes. They didn't go, what are my possibilities? If I go in through here, I'm going to get burned there. If I go through that, I may get shot. If I go through here, I don't know, I may fall. No, heroes don't act like that. Heroes just act. This is why we love heroes. We love movies about heroes. We love stories about heroes. We love books about heroes, and on and on and on. We love everything about heroes. Any type of hero is a selfless person. They don't think about it. They almost just react. Almost just react. That's what it looks like. They respond to life in a reactive way. That's that word we don't like. I don't want to react. I don't want to react. I want to play my chips well. But energy is not like that. Energy doesn't work like that. It's my belief that energy is about responding, if you don't want to use the word reacting, responding from a non-mental place. You couldn't love someone if all you're thinking about is who they are, what they mean, what they did in their past, and on and on and on. You can't love someone that way. It's impossible. It comes from a place of judgment. You can't go into an endeavor in life, becoming an artist, being all you can be, from that place. From the place of, I don't know, in the past I did this, or that didn't work. I'm not going to try that again. No, the only reason it didn't work is because you didn't do it. You didn't do it enough. And you didn't stay long enough with it. And you didn't do it in sufficient quantities. It's the only reason why it didn't work. It's not due to your judgment. It's because you didn't do it enough. I tried singing. It wasn't for me. No, of course it wasn't for you. You let it go. Justin Bieber didn't try singing. He dived into singing. He didn't try it. You could see that little guy, his energy. When he came out on TV when he was a little kid, you could see the energy. He dived into it. Courageous. Courageous little guy. It's the same thing. You can see it. You can tell any artist. They either dive or they're sticking their toe in the water. You stick your toe in the water, you're not getting anything. You got to dive in there. You got to get wet. You might get hurt, and it's okay. It's part of it. I'll leave you guys with that. My name's Jose Trujillo. I'll talk to you guys later. All right? Take care.